Let's take a look at the Materials tab and how this works. The reason we're in the model view here is to show you what the Materials tab does in the model view. So the color of the stripes here are actually coming from the materials that are set in the Materials tab. Each pattern here has an associated material here. So this is HS white for half shag white, which is a type of big Z fir. And if we go to the Materials view here, or the Materials tab, we have a list of materials. This is really intended to work as a way for you to catalog and track what materials you're using, but it also makes it so that the software can have common settings for things like display colors and physical properties. So all of these fields here under the name, the link, the description are really just there for you so that you can figure out what you want to, like how you want to manage this. So it's effectively your catalog of materials. The other settings that affect the view of this, the display color changes the view. So let's say I wanted to change all of my white patterns to green. Once I click save here, that will go ahead and apply it to my model. And now I can see what this green and black striped zebra looks like. I can just Control Z to undo that. Maybe not actually, but let's set it back to white and click save. So now I have my white and black zebra here back again. If I want to set the thickness, so the way this works is you just enter the value and the unit here, and the software understands a bunch of different units. So I can enter 0.125 uh, inches, and then 5 millimeters, or let's do 5 millimeters here. And then to apply this, I'm going to click save. And now if I go back to my model, you'll see it's added thickness to the fabrics here. The reason the thickness is important is it changes the overall proportions of what you're working on. So for me, this is something that I use a lot. I'll actually subtract the thickness of the materials from the models that I'm sculpting. So that's how I use this. So I have a certain expectation of what the end result will look like once the thickness from the fabric and the adhesives and everything else that I'm working with is applied to my model. If I want to go ahead and duplicate a material here, I can just click on the duplicate button here, and that will get me a duplicate of this. So now I've duplicated my black minky and made a red minky. And if I want to go ahead and apply this to different patterns in the model, I have two ways. The first way is I can use the select tool and I can click on a pattern. So this is pattern 103 that was just selected, and I can change it down here. So now that's red minky. Or I can use the materials paint tool here. And you just click on the patterns that you want to change. You have to set the material here. And I guess, there we go. I guess I have a bug there where it doesn't update the materials. So now I can just click anywhere I want on the model for that material. And what it's going to do is set the material and show me what it looks like. So this way you can kind of play with different materials. Alternatively, when I cut a pattern, let's create something to cut here real quick. When I go to cut a pattern, I can set the material at that point if I want to. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can set the materials for your project here. The other thing to know is the materials that you've set impact your 2D patterns as well. So if I zoom out here, I can turn the color view on, and this will show me all of the colors of the patterns so that I have an idea of how I might want to lay out my fabric. It also will add the labels for the materials here. So we added red minky, this is red, and that ID or the name that comes here comes from the ID here. It's important that when you're naming things, you don't make really long names here. The software will drop really, like, as it's trying to lay out the patterns here. If it can't fit all of the text on the pattern, one of the first things that are dropped is the material name. So an ID that's short and succinct and that you understand is the ideal ID to put in there. So this is the ideal ID for whatever it is. So I could probably shorten this more. But hopefully this is helpful to understanding how materials work in the software. Oh, you can also right click on the materials here. The import and export doesn't work yet, but everything else here should work.